What did we talk about last week? The cross and the engolpion, the cross and the medallion. The bishop wears two things on his chest. He has the cross on the one side and the oval thing on the other. The cross has Christ on it and the oval has Panagia. The stavron and the engolpion, the cross and the engolpion, the chest thing. Right? Okay. Kala. Thank you. Ha ha ha. Okay, today we're going to talk about the other thing that the bishop started to wear after the fall of the Byzantine Empire. We already talked about the sakos. It's like a stikarion, except instead of being a white garment that goes all the way down to the floor, the sakos only goes about to the knee. And it is what the bishop wears instead of the phelonion, the big cape that the priest wears. That had been the vestment of the emperor. And when we stopped having an emperor, to remind ourselves that we are still one church, because the emperor had been the symbol of the unity of the church, of the unity of the Christian people. Now every bishop wears the stakos instead of the phelonion, so we are reminded that we have one episcopate, even though we have individually different bishops. We are members of one church. We partake of one chalice. We are baptized in one baptism. We worship one Lord. The other thing that the bishop wears in memory of the emperor, as a reminder of our unity in Christ throughout the inhabited world. Any guesses? What would a king wear? A crown. And the bishop wears what? On his head. He wears a crown thingamabobber, as my son says. We call it the mitre, but it's a crown. And the bishop wears the crown because the emperor used to wear the crown. We can also say he wears the crown because he represents Christ, and Christ is the King of Kings. But the reason historically that the bishop started wearing the crown in the liturgy was when we no longer had an emperor who was wearing the crown and reminding us that Christ is King of us all. Then the bishop began to wear it. And that's why when we look at Christ in the bishop's chair, he has on the omophorion, he has on the sakos, and he has on the crown. Now there is a prayer that the bishop says when he puts on the crown, and it is this: you placed upon his head a crown of precious stones. He asked life of you, and you gave him length of days. Which is a reminder for all of us that the Lord gives us blessings more than we expect. If we ask for a crown, then he gives us one with precious stones. And if we ask for life, then he gives us not just life today, but many days. The Lord gives us blessings. He is our King, he is our Father, he is our God, and he loves us and cares for us. And he wears the crown and gives to the bishops, and used to be to the emperor, but now to the bishops, to wear the crown as a reminder of his care and his protection of all of us, because that is a king's job. The other thing the bishop has that sort of represents this is a staff, but that's for the other end of the spectrum. A king takes care of people. A shepherd takes care of what? Sheep. And that's what we are. We are people of God. We are sheep of the Good Shepherd. And everything that the bishop has represents that. Now, why am I talking about the bishop so much? Any guesses? I'm talking about his vestments, yes, but maybe you think you might have a chance to see his vestments sometime soon, and I want you to be ready. What happens in January? Anybody remember? After New Year's, the bishop comes and he blesses the Vasilopita, but he does the liturgy first. So all the stuff we're just talking about, you're going to get a chance to see. And you can ask him what he has to say about the sakos, and won't he be surprised that you even know what the thing is? Or maybe not. We'll see what he has to say. But I want you to remember what all of the bishop's vestments are called, because after he goes again, in late January, we'll have a quiz, which is to say, I'll ask you the name of the bishop's vestments, and if you saw them, and we'll be done. So, there are only a few more of the bishop's vestments, but really, because Christmas is coming, we are almost out of vestments. So we'll probably finish right before he comes. So, let's review quickly. What does he wear instead of a philonion? Sakos. What does he wear on his chest? And engolpion. Say engolpion. 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 Bravo, sons. And what does he wear on his shoulders? You see, Christ has it on his shoulders. It has the crosses. Anybody remember what shoulder is in Greek? Well, shoulder is omos. So omophorion is what the bishop wears on his shoulders, because we're so creative. It's what he wears on his shoulders, and omophorion means the thing he wears on his shoulders. But it represents the sheep that he cares for, and he wears on his head the crown. So, thank you for paying attention. Have a blessed day. Enjoy Sunday school.